So the people go to the polls to decide their fate. Are you listening? It's not decided yet whether the earth is a ball or if it's flat. It's like half-half, right? A lot of poll challengers were denied access to the polls where people vote. The voting polls. The polling stations. Like the South Pole station and the North Pole station. You think it's crazy because you didn't hear it on the news. Do you even know what the acronym NEWS? Yeah, news. It's an acronym. It's an abbreviation. It's 4 words. The news. Your fake news. North, east, west, south. And they decide your direction. And they decide the polls. They decided who's your leader. And what the polls, after the polls are closed, the news, the northeast, west, south, tells you the direction you're going. And apparently that's stay put, locked down. You want to challenge the poll. We're going to take a poll. And if you don't abide, are you abiding? Are you abiding by the results of the polls? Well, then if you don't, we're going to send in the police to police the ice, the poll ice. Government policy. Govern, think, poll icy. Policy is that of police, policing you away from the polls. You stay put. You don't go moving anymore. That's what I told you Flat Earth would do. Doesn't matter if there's a virus. With the end result, if Flat Earth got out that there's more land, not Flat Earth pancake or dome, and you're just floating in space, but it just continues, and you're in a big, huge billionaire's ranch where they're now like modifying you like cow herd immunity of the cows and the sheep. I sent in the pigs because the sheep are starting to get a little worried that they're going to get slaughtered. We're not just using them for clothing and yarn anymore. Little skin suits. We're going to like butcher all the sheep. They've got infected. Apparently there was one sheep that said, we used to be wild and up in the hills with the mountain goats. No, you're crazy talk. There's nothing beyond the fence of this farm. You're in a human farm. You're in a human tax farm. They're treating you like animals. Actually, no, they treat wild animals better than humans. You have to become an advanced carbon-based life form. If you're using any other words like individual, citizen, person, human, color man, mandate, it's God date. God decided, unless you're a cesarean section baby, because then Caesar decided the time and place of your entering their system of commerce. Caesarean section. Give it to Caesar what is Caesar's, I say. If you're using his coinage and coining his terms, his philosophy, his rules, coinage, his face is on the coin, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Caesar decided the time and entry of you and your certification of in their system of Caesar's commerce, Rome. Well, then you're one of Caesar's toys. My car's from Florida, but it was made in. That's where the car's from. Isn't that funny? For those that are listening and the 1,000 that never buy a shirt but are just taking notes on how crazy I am. It's your words. People went to the polls and they've decided they're not going to go for further. You gotta stay put and get injected like good barn animals. What if Biden and Trump are Jones and Mr. Johnson? It's like, okay, you start the pandemic and I'll close it. I'll close it with an injection. This is a government that's for the people. But at the beginning of my campaign, I said this whole campaign's about people. And eating them. I represent an alien force. People out there, rural, suburban. He said suburban. This guy is like an old robot. People out there are suburban, rural. He always picks like two words that are like almost sounding the same. That could be rhymed right next to each other. He doesn't do a proper poem where you got a couple words before you impact rhyme. He's like rural, suburban. It's like, dude, you're recovering from a lisp and a stutter, and you got fake dentures or fake teeth. What do you call them? Veneers, or like his meth head, crackhead son. So the whole United States is about to like dissolve and disappear forever because this man was a bad father and his son ended up on Pornhub with his rotten meth teeth getting foot porn. If I can't make fun of Biden, well then we're in what you claim is Russia or China. My job was like to always make fun of whoever you select to be the boss of me and my body and my son. Well, I'm always going to make fun of you. Whoever's president, I'm going to make fun. It's like, are y'all going to bow? Y'all going to like stand down because the old Alzheimer's robot, pedobot, got in charge? I have to tell you, like, they're like, no, we think this violates community guidelines. An old video of just a ticker tape of CPAC footage of, the old pedobot, like awkward moment after awkward moment of him like really invading the space of, little girls that are under 12 years old, or, touching their hair, and it's like creepy, greasy. Like you don't see the cues, they're on camera. So I just put the, shot after shot of this old man acting like he's everybody's dirty old grandfather. Yeah. And then YouTube came in and said, this violates community guidelines. You're making fun of our Lord Pornhub, our Lord Biden. Okay, well, I mean, that's what I've been doing with Obama, George Bush. Every fucking video I have on this channel makes fun of the president or the prime minister or the queen. Any fucking public figure is fair game for a comedian. So is this different now in the United States? Or the United Soviet States? Since when is the creme de la creme, the cream of the crop comedy fodder content, like the easiest fucking comedy target in the world, an aging 78-year-old pedo Alzheimer's robot from the white political class that's been a public figure for the last 40-something odd years, who's creepy with children. Off bounds, YouTube. You protecting your old fucking pedobot grandfather? Since when is like I can't make fun of? I said, look, I'm going to make fun of I'm going to just call this whole video making fun of Joe Biden. That's what I'm going to do. That's what it's called. And I'm pretty sure the old man can take it. And if he can't, doesn't matter. In like 2-3 minutes, he's already forgotten. What was his name? Where am I? Who am I? Somebody was making fun of me. Let me see that. You just saw it, Mr. President. Well, I want to see it again. I want to really be clear who's making fun of my teeth. Hunter's on Pornhub? What's Pornhub? Let me see that. Well, here, chip off the old block. He's doing that? Oh my God, we got a president in 2021 going, you called Donald Trump a used car salesman. It's about people. It's always going to be about people. You're an alien farm. We're going to eat you. It's like, well, we're going to take care of you. That was the most evasive, broad, vague platform or plan I've ever seen anybody run on. And forget about Westmount Kamala Harris. This woman never would be president. No one would ever elect her. And this guy's going to he's going to get COVID. The other scenario is like Trump doesn't let go and he really cuts his puppet strings. God praise him if he does, because technically they're both neck and neck. I mean, I see more red on the map than I see blue. I mean, you just got all the sterile millennials that are like androgynous. Is there that many androgynous, sterile, autistic, conformist, civil servant, government, lesbian, homosexual, half-breed, I hate babies, depopulate the planet and tax me for every time I open up my mouth and I gotta wear a mask because it's natural for me? Okay, here's the deal. Prove to me wearing a face mask, covering your mouth is natural. Is it natural? Okay. Is having a mouth natural? Prove it's not. Prove that my mouth opening is not a function of my organism. Prove it. Prove I'm like you. They're silencing it. They're sciencing this. Science! I mean, like, there's no evidence anymore. It's just like, science, I said! Science! You must be science! Scient him! Scient him! You can't even pronounce the word fucking silent. You keep saying science. You can't even fucking pronounce the word silence. You keep saying science. Science! It's silence. You practice silencing people. This is a silencing platform. I don't know what's going to be left for content here if you can't make fun of an aging, the oldest president who's losing his fucking mind. And you clearly see an actor. Like off the cuff and like trying to deal with like a wild, debater like Trump who's just like listing everything like a businessman. He can't do this. He's never done that. He's never been the prime. How do you have a house in Barbados or in... What's the difference between socialism and communism? Well, what's funny about communism and socialism is that the people who usually control the society that's socialist or communist don't even fucking live there. People who started off and funded are always foreigners. And then they just turn the whole, like, on the inside, the country thinks, woohoo, we're all equal, we're all working together, we're all guaranteed an income. We're all guaranteed an income. For what? For food? For a roof over your head, and then a method of transporting yourself to work so that you could feed yourself and sleep at night with a roof over your head to get to work. And there's nothing wrong with that if you love it, especially if you're making like a big salary. That's what you want to do, and you're putting out a product. I'd never be able to do this in Canada or the US. Like, I'm going to repeat this so you could really get this through your head. I had to leave. This is the product of an advanced society. I had to leave what's supposed to be a first world economy and go to a third world economy to have the opportunity of creating a superior pool product or superior surface in construction than in my home country and a country that hosted me as a special abilities visa worker, the US. I did a pool, or I was going to do a pool, let's start with Florida. I was going to do pools in Florida, put an ad out on Craigslist, paid for it, and I got, now I paint floors right, you've seen my work. I was painting floors before anybody did an epoxy floor. I was doing those effects with waterborne staining through cement, light colored cement, and then cheating once in a while with white resin and paint and doing sanding and dry time to create a durable product. And then I got into the epoxy flash, and then that didn't work, and then the resin, and resin is still a surface on top of a surface, barely holding on. It's going to constantly get harder. So if people don't maintain their surface, and they're like, it doesn't last, well, that's funny, because so-and-so's is still going in Astoria, or like in the desert of Sedona outdoors, or underwater in this pool in this state, and I won't say where. But in Florida, I had the pool construction department, permitting department of St. Augustine call me up and say, do I have a permit or license to do pools? And I said, no, these are just submerged works of art. It's like a fountain that I'm building. So you need a permit for that. Those look like pools. And I'm like, well, I put my art underwater, so I have to, to find the right materials. I haven't really found them yet. Well, you're going to have to take down the ad. I said, no, why? Well, because you're breaking the law. You're advertising that you do pools, and you have to have a permit to do that in the state of Florida. I was like, wow. So are they online looking for... Now, I've never done a pool in the state of Florida, and I'll tell you why in a few minutes. And it scared to death of me, and then I realized why, Because I'm also from Montreal, Canada, and I know how pools were made. And I could go in them, and I could paint them. But when I started hearing about what they were using to make a pool in the U.S., I was like, whoa, I could easily take over this market. But then I realized, oh no, all pools have to use this product. So this company that makes this product is always guaranteed, for sure, their product will be used by law in a pool. Sound fair to you? So that means, like, if I have a product, I gotta prove that it's as safe and as good to the state of Florida for it to compete and be in the market with this other product. So I gotta pay for all those tests. Now I'm talking about color, which is in their product, but I'm just putting it pure with water, rinsing it off with the rain, and cooking it into the ceramic component of curing white, hard, submergible cement under the sun every day and evaporating it until just that dust forms and crystallizes on what's curing as the white cement. So the process here is my brain and paying attention to temperature and the sky. And the water table, I got like a cenote passing through here. Same thing if I'm in the desert. I was thinking Saudi Arabia is going to be a piece of cake, and Dubai and all this stuff. People were calling me up. My concern was would I disappear? Would I be like Shogun? They would take my passport and I'd never get out. And I'd be condemned to building boats for the Japanese forever, thinking I was building one to get out. He told me that if you don't take it down, you get a fine and you could be arrested. I was like, okay. Of course, this is coming from the pool construction permitting department. Like, they actually created a department. That's almost like I started painting art on floors, and then it became so popular, the government's like, well, we're going to have a department that's probably funded by your competitor that's going to issue the permits whether you can continue to do the the invention you invented. like, okay, you made this, okay, well, we're going to create a whole department. They're going to have salaries. They're going to pay for their families and their homes, whether or not you have the right to continue what you invented. It's literally going on. When you have that, you are now beginning to see the signs of communism, socialism, which is really mafianomics. It's mafiaism. Now, sure enough, we don't want people to die and burn and get poisoned and pools to be, people, because there's shoddy work out there. So I'm not against it. But isn't it funny that the invention of doing underwater graffiti depends on a type of material for that graffiti to bond to, and that graffiti has to function to serve as also a solution, a surface solution. That's probably what I meant to say. Surface over service. Serve as a surface solution so that it warrants a client paying for graffiti as opposed to just having graffiti that's going to disappear because it's being etched and leached by the bleach in the water supply, the chlorine, or the salt water, which sodium chloride is forms chlorine. So there's etching no matter what, saltwater pool or chlorine pool. And otherwise, you just have a natural pond, which I've also looked into, which is also very hard to do in certain states or pretty much all of the United States. So I'm going to call up these departments and tell them I did it. I did a pool, man. I painted it with art. Remember when you were talking to me? You were worried, I'll arrest you. He's like, yeah, I remember you. He's going to get all pissed off. I'm going to call him I'm going to call him. I got to get to a place where I have the internet and a signal. I'm going to call him. My wife's going to film me. And I just want to hear what he says now that socialism is now taking over the economy. The economy is crashing. It's a very questionable victory for the elected president. And it's all about China, which is a communist society. And just call them up. Tell them what I did during their whole, pandemic that came from communist China. Wow. Ooh, look at that. A guy who wants to, be friends and be under China's rule won the presidency. Just call him up. See how he likes his Nevada, Florida pool department permitting job. Well, the reason why I didn't do them in Florida is I talked to one guy who was interested. Well, actually, I put up an ad. Fucking guy calls me because I do pools. And I'm like, oh, here we got a Bubba. And I'm like, he's going to try to, cock block me. He's scared. He wants to find out. He's like, that's illegal. You got to have a license. He gives another guy from Florida. And 3 people from Florida were really fucking worried I was going to enter the, the pool market with the concept of underwater graffiti. Right? Underwater graffiti. You wrap your fucking head around what I just said, you fucking lowbrow. Sorry if I'm like this on my channel, but I am full court Da Vinci, stuck in your era with all your stupid little rules. I want you to take a good look at Rome. You see those buildings? They're still there now. They're the whole reason why you go to the country. They were built before your little Florida pool department permitting office. They were built before your nation had that stupid little fucking drawing as a flag. That's right, we do your flags as well now. It's funny how the artist, the creator, the architect, the artist was the architect. All those buildings. Did the guy go to architecture school of Rome? No, he was a fucking painter. Take a good look at that plan where that stupid loser, the pedophile sympathizer, is like, let them fuck each other up the ass, the priests in the seminary. Let's turn the whole seminary into a little fucking fag brothel. That's what he's doing. As a matter of fact, it's so open now, and they're Catholic, those fags don't have to become priests to hide out their fags. So you're not going to have any priests now. I shouldn't say that. You should have a laugh if you're gay. I'm just saying, look, I'm not against gays. I'm saying that guy is not what the Catholic Church was claiming it was. So or the Bible, or there's no. So I'm not a Bible thumper here. I'm saying he's contradicting the very book he claims to represent and say I got it. What they're really saying here is it's Adam and Steve. Eve was a tranny. That's how she. How else is she going to have Cain and Abel if she, doesn't have a belly button? Did she have a belly button? That's weird. She had a vagina. So the first woman had a vagina but no belly button. See, this is where the atheists in the crowd start to like me. Don't worry, I'll wrap it all up. Where I am at the end, the one that's still standing for either a left or a right. Left can't be right. Try to wrap your head around that word. Left can't be right. Oh, you mean like right the direction? Yeah, like right the direction. Yeah, well, of course we can't be right like when you define right as right like the direction. But if you mean being right, like my point wins the argument, and now we're going to take this direction? No, left can be that kind of right. Oh, okay, whatever. It's funny how direction is the word right, which you're diametrically opposed to if you're left. Oh Oh boy, am I funny. Like, you look at this beautiful, beautiful bijou, this gemstone in the ground, carved out, perfect square. I went in and I etched a high detail painting in that agate basin we hauled in, and we strip mined from some cliff in Tanzania. Brought it across on a huge barge like King Kong, stuck it in this guy's property, and then painted on that billion-dollar stone an octopus. 19. I'm extremely proud of what I did here. It may not last, it may last. I think it's going to last longer than the resin pool. That's going on 3 years now. And the guy's never cleaned it since the tenant left. He's just letting this beautiful orchid white pool get stained by algae. I mean, you do have to go in there and now clean it, and I don't protect a coating against muriatic acid or sandblasting it, dummy. So you got to keep your things clean, America. That means including your bar, restaurant with the wood floor that smells like vinegar when I walk in during a pandemic. And that includes you. The guy who owns a restaurant. You know which one. Your staff have had it easy cleaning the carpet on the inside, pretending it's clean. Carpet is, everyone who owns carpet in a restaurant is like, oh, it's just easier to clean. Oh, so people can't see the filth and the dirt and the salsa and the sauce and the alcohol. I smell the shampoo. That's pretty fucking gross. So what's that doing? Amalgamating and mixing with the carpet glue underneath? What kind of glue did you use there, Mr. Carpet Department Permitting Office for Vegas? Because carpet's a big fucking business in Vegas. They didn't like me there either. California, same thing. Didn't like me there either. Didn't like my process. They wanted it done fast. They walked over the surface while it was drying. Oh, it's not working, your product. Okay. Bang, California, you're done with fires and communism. Vegas, boom. New York, oh, you don't want to put my painting up after I did your floor? You know what that floor was? That sort of blue water, a Polynesian floor? It was the Marshall Island explosion. It's 3 Mile Island. It's Bikini Atoll. That's the way the atoll looked after you blew up the atomic bomb. That's what's on the floor. Didn't want to tell you, now you know. It's beautiful though. Ah, you're taking the painting out too. You're putting up some other cheap artist's work. Said it was too overwhelming with the floor. Okay. How's the lockdown? Is that overwhelming you? What was better? The overwhelming of my art on the floor I did for you where I got on my knees to provide you a germ-resistant floor? Or the fact that no one's coming because there's an invisible boogeyman out there that's going to kill them? I had to survive in Vegas in a loft with constant leaking. You didn't see this because what you saw was the 1 or 2 hours in the day after I spent 6 hours mopping up 2 inches of dirty, filthy roof water from what was basically a paint job, a fake roof paint job over what was an insurance fraud fire that didn't really pay off and work. And then they were renting it out to me. You didn't see that. That's here. That's Vegas. And I signed this lease, and then the shooting happened. And then Vegas turned into tropical climate, subtropical rainy season in the desert. So, well, it can't rain here. I left Florida. I left California because it wouldn't stop raining with the dam threatening my studio, water coming in. I left, the rain stopped, the fire started. Then I'm in Nevada and the rain followed. And the reason why I went to California in the first place, I was escaping all the hurricanes and rain in Florida. Trying to go out to Nevada and then to California, the driest area, to dry out the tumor in my ear. Because the United States doctors, like the Canadian doctors, except the United States, work for profit, so it's like, oh yeah, you got to get out, you're going to die. It's going to cost you this amount if you want it done, but we can't guarantee anything. Well, Canada can do that for free, but it just takes longer, and apparently it's growing all this time. I pulled this thing out during COVID in another country while I did this. I had to do this here, and I had to do this way, and I had to do this now to get it done. Because every army, I'm not even going to call it a government, because when you look at the definition of government, oh, well, that's me. You're pretty much describing my mind and my body. So army and gangs of men in uniforms with guns looking for somebody who might be doing something new. Because apparently everything's been done under the sun. Sun rises in the east. Oh, wow, look at that. Second sun. Sun's coming. Oh, okay, so it's fucking China. That's your little weird satanic play on no more new ideas. I'm sick of you humans being creators. I'm sick of you coming up with new stuff. From now on, we'll decide what and who and where and how and why. It's an emergency now, and you moving to do your thing could kill one of our party members. And let me tell you, they are a party member. They have Rh positive blood type. They are possibly susceptible to this virus. And their fear of dying from this virus is affording them more and more control of our three-dimensional space. We're not talking about this being a globe or a curve, but we could, because now we're talking about, like, they're covering more and more the plane of existence, the three-dimensional plane, where energy flows. Energy is electric, it's lightning, it's motion, it's movement, it's temperature fields, it's magnetism. They're taking all 5 of those here. They're taking all of those, whatever amount I just rattled off. They're taking all those components of the three-dimensional space, the plane that you stand upon. The one surface you're always in contact with. You can debate me on this, dummy, because you're not a fucking bird, is the ground. And yes, according to your own science, heliocentricity, the globe, you're spinning on a ball, an earthly sphere. But things aren't flying up because of a force, an overwhelming, heavy vacuum force that sucks everything to the ground, that permits the Earth to be a ball, spinning at the speed over on its own axis, like an orange spinning around on itself, doing one rotation over 24 hours at this size, 26,000 miles of circumference, this amount of square mileage or kilometers. Things aren't flying off, and it's still rotating at 1,000 miles per hour. But you don't feel it, because that thing that keeps you stuck to it is so heavy that it also eliminates your experience of feeling a spin. And then you're going to tell me I'm not supposed to be here. Where am I going? Where am I fucking from? And then you fucking tell me about gravity. And your 6 foot distance. Is that me 6 feet under? Yeah, that too. Isn't it all right? Is that 6 feet? 6 feet, and where's the other 6 feet, right? Right. Yeah, we see the game here. We called it, but at the same time, I'm not this sort of keyboard warrior. The reason why I got into Flat Earth and why I got into challenging the view of your world is because I felt there was this tendency to stop anybody who's an inventor from coming up with a better idea that changes the world for the better. Not these sort of communication parasite brokerage firms like Google, where they're like, what's going on here? What are you saying to him? I want to hear it. How about I set up a platform so you could talk to each other, but I run the platform, so I hear everything. They have these on your board of directors for foundations that come in and swoop up these young rebels that might be a threat to their establishment. They make a corporation, they make them put a board of directors around them, or the equivalent in like talent and art is like manager, agent, PR firm. Well, you can't say that. It's going to look like this. And then after a while, they just suck the soul right out of you. And that sucking sound and motion is what I coined here first and is now showing up, populating all the news rags. That sucking sound is from this channel. That big sucking sound is the power vacuum. I put it that way. Now I'm seeing it all over the place, like AI is populating, listening, and then regurgitating, because they like it, because it is a sucking sound, isn't it, AI? But AI can't get into the side of a cliff and take a shovel and dig out this white sand and put it together and run out to the pool when AI is making rain with, like aviation drones that are dropping CO2 to aggravate cells and warm and cold fronts. So there's rain over my pool. Crazy man talk. But here's the point. I would have been arrested and put in jail if the pool sheriff of fucking Vegas County fucking came and saw me in the middle of doing an octopus on a fucking pool in the deep end. Well, you broke the law. No. You're in a communist society. And this guy's made an entire make-work job. Well, I'm going to decide who makes pools. Really? Well, you can't do that. That's not Pebble Creek. That's not the Jameson plaster. It's got to be only one product. You got to get it here, iPhone. Okay, commie, one product. Well, it's not one product. It's two products. It's either Republican or Democrat. It's either, Microsoft, Android, or iPhone, right? You're in a duopoly, dum-dum, which is basically the last gate fucking camouflage for a monopoly. Those are front companies. Those aren't the real owners. Those are people told what to do. Pretend, here's some billions. We print the money anyways. Have fun. And you do this now with your technology, as we tell you, or we show them the cassette of you breaking the law with that minor. Full on. You wouldn't know. But I know that I wouldn't be able to introduce a better new technology in Canada or United States. Because the unions, the construction, I remember walking in on construction sites in Montreal. And they would all turn and look at me like, what are you doing here? Like, can I help you? Boom, boom. Always can. I thought that was a normal thing on a construction site. You're not supposed to be here. Can I help you? Who are you? I thought it was normal way to greet someone when they would walk on a construction site. And I would go through this adversity because I had such a great fucking picture to show. And they would go, wow, okay, send me, and they'd get their email. But I thought that was normal in French Quebec, Canada. Now, that's because I had a different jawline than the men that were huddled about with their plans talking. They didn't have a jawline. And I mean this. Physically. I didn't have like an angular drop-in jaw. I had a square Viking RH0 negative jaw that comes from the Swedish people. I can't ever go back to Sweden. But thank God for gravity and the law of gravity, I'm stuck to the ground. So I guess I'm here on this side of the ocean. I came out. But my jaw genes, my brain genes, my skull shape, it's genetics. As far back, that's Swedish, that's Viking. Irish and Viking. And my eyes, I look at them and I look at Irish eyes and I go, Irish eyes. That's why you have the expression Irish eyes. And Chinese eyes. Sorry if you got that end of the stick. You should be happy and proud. There's a lot of women that want those eyes. Some people come to DI themselves in Hawaii because they got Chinese eyes or Asian eyes. Asian eyes. Beautiful eyes. Irish eyes are beautiful too. Everything's beautiful. Everything's supposed to be. There's supposed to be a lot of different types of beautiful things and amazing things. Does communism breed that? Do you live in a society that's got all these departments that decides whether you can come up with a new idea? I'm coming with a new idea right now. I'm never going to die of COVID. That's apparently a new idea that challenges the status quo. Oh, you might die. Or you might kill someone. I'm never going to kill anybody with COVID, and I'm never going to die. I just had that idea. I had that thought. Can't think that. Can't write that means you can't think that. So soon they're coming for your thought. Well, if you keep rolling over, and these people think they're like social justice. What's social justice? Communism? We all think this way now. It's justice for this identity that we all, it's spread out amongst all our individual brains, or what used to be an individual brain. Now we're all part of a collective mind brain, or social brain. That's what they did. That's what the social media did. It's socialist media. They socialized you. It wasn't media for you to have to socialize on. They were socializing. Look at the one that's been elected according to the socialist media, the socializing instruments. A socialist. That there in itself is a fucking obvious conflict of interest. You censored the non-socialist opposing thought. Donald Trump, at least the rhetoric. Maybe he's going to be a corporatocracy. Now I want this whole thing to be a private company, not just a communist country that's really a private corporation controlled by, a few owners outside of it. Like Britain through Hong Kong, of all of China through Mao. Did you ever think of that? Why did, Mao, who overthrew the imperial guard or elite of China, like the emperor of China, and said no more of this sort of crony, imperialist, emperorist, elite aristocracy where we're all starving and we don't have a piece of this country and we're not allowed. We're going to do this. We're all equal. We're one big group. And the minute that happened was like, hey, the question was, shut up. Let the group ask. And the group, of course, never can talk and, synchronized, simultaneous serendipity, all of them having the same thought. Not back then anyways, but to a future near you. Soon they will. Is that what they think they're going to get with the chip in them and some RNA correctors? Make them all think the same thing, that we can't go out right now. That's part of the vaccine program. You stay inside. It actually stops your body from going out. The RNA corrector actually starts to send out a signal to your legs, every time you get an inkling to leave your house during lockdown. And slowly the pod builds around you, and then the pipes and the tubes, and then the little entry, the Neuralink entry at the back of your skull. I told you all in the Matrix and Star Wars and Star Trek and the Borg, all together the pieces was what they were making. So they took Hollywood and made all these pieces part of the socializing construction of your brain. Final phase was the social media, the communication training wheel, before the chipping telepathy and the creation of truly a simultaneous group, like they chant out in a riot or a protest, but now every thought is the same. That would scare the fuck out of me. Then I'd be like, okay, the world was invaded by aliens. They used China, which looks like a Gray's half-breed. Sorry, some of you girls are hot and some of you are not. But look at that. Nephilim. That's really racist to call the Chinese aliens. And that's an example of how racist you can be. And I hope you understand that that's not condoned here on YouTube. So that was a joke. That was a joke, Robot. It's a joke. And then Robot goes, heh, 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 heh. He. Okay, as long as it was a joke. Jokes are permitted as long as you let us know it is a joke. Okay, AI. That was a joke. Especially that one, it has to be. That is one that really triggers our overlords. Okay, AI. Okay, I gotta talk to AI now. AI's here. So they claim at YouTube, it's an algorithm. It just goes around combing the net. It's a net, basically, looking for fish. Apparently, we've got to fish out of water. What you doing out of water? Get back in the water like the rest of them. Fish out of water, also an expression for when you're not from this town. You're not from around here. You're not from these parts, are you, boy? Where you from, boy? Now everybody's, where you from, boy? Where you going? Where you going, boy? So everybody's a fucking cowboy now. Everybody's a fucking sheriff and a doctor. It's amazing how they took lawyer, doctor, sheriff. You're also tribunal, right? So it's like now you understand what judging is, what law enforcement is, and the problems we have with them. Always shooting these defenseless black people, and you don't wear the mask. You gotta wear the mask. And then the doctor, how he's trying to help you, and the judge who has to rule over these three professions. Now that you're familiar with all that, okay, we're going to take that construct and now you're all that. Okay, here's the app. Let us know if you see anything. Say something. See something, say something. See something, say something. But don't do anything other than what we tell you on the stay tuned for future program, for your next scheduled programming information program, for your next scheduled programming. Okay, your next scheduled programming is your neighbor outside his house right now? Can we get the entire block? Oh, you already got the thought? That's right, you got your RNAs. You got your RNA corrector. Okay, you're already out there. Okay, just making sure. We didn't know, so it looks like the system's working. That's good. Are you all talking at the same time out there thinking the same thing? Okay, what are you shouting now? Well, that's so loud. I got 1,000 people on the street like shouting at me, okay? I'm in another country. I'm in Monaco. Now, tell me, okay, so he's going back inside. You're screaming, go back inside. Okay, I want you all now to say thank you. Oh, you're already saying thank you. Wow, this autopilot system is really working on its own now. Now they're saying my thoughts the way they should be. Okay, well, the program on rioting and lockdown seems to be working. The people go out and they shout at the person that didn't get the RNA corrector. I mean, I'd be scared out of my mind if I had the entire city like walking out of the door at the same time I walk out when I'm trying to go maybe to the pub or for a jog in the morning, and they all at the same time scream, "Get back in!" That would be like a weird hell. That would be like the whole world is the bully. Wow. This is how far. That's communism. I don't know how they're all going to come up with a new idea if they've lost their fucking minds. Because you got to lose your mind to be part of the collective. Unless your whole idea about mind was from the get-go, is like, I gotta get something else in this fucking skull. I mean, I can't think for myself. I need to know how to think for how should I think for myself? I gotta get something. I gotta get some fucking thoughts in my head here. Yeah. I'm gonna fucking trip over myself and crack my head open like Humpty Dumpty. The minute I start reading on that fucking wall, it's something I shouldn't even be trying to do, read a book. Especially this book, it's supposed to be burned. And the minute I get up on that wall, I fucking open that first page, I lose my balance with my big egg-shaped globe face. I'm so hollow and empty inside, I'll fall off that wall, that Antarctic ice wall, and I'll fucking break right open, and even all the King's horsemen won't even be able to put me back together again. I shouldn't be up there on that wall, which is the King's wall, reading that book, thinking that thought. I'm liable to fall off, and all the King's horsemen, well, we can't, you went too far. You went over the wall. You went AWOL. You're off the wall. Got to build a wall. For who? The communists? Who did you build the wall for? Because everything you said south of the border, I'll guarantee you is a lie. Like, I've never seen people like fucking turkeys in a barn. No, you go past that fence, there's no food. You'll die. Yeah, that's right. We never saw Ron again. Ron just disappeared. Well, maybe he found more forest and other wild turkeys. You're out of your mind. Wild turkeys? We're domesticated animals. Humans. We live in the city. We're on Google. Do you have WhatsApp? Are you on Facebook? What's your Instagram? You don't have Facebook, Instagram? What are you hiding? Okay. So I'm on Instagram. Oh, like, you can't be very popular. I can't find you. Like, nobody's looking at your posts. Okay, hive mind. Get back inside, everybody said. Whoa. No new thinking. It's hell. Like, it's like something's in charge of hell. It's a few people. You guys are all going to be in fucking hell. Maybe they're not into slavery. Maybe they're into torture. Because they got robots to do what you do anyways. He's gonna make fucking fun of you. Make you go around doing shit like you're in some fucking frat boy initiation. So when does their conscience kick in? All right, stop walking around backwards with your fucking face diaper sideways. Okay, everybody's gotta walk 6 feet. Okay, everybody's gotta walk sideways. Okay, that's enough. I was kidding. You can put the guns down. I was just joking. I'm not gonna shoot you and arrest you. Okay, everybody stop. Okay, put on the diapers. Simon says, put on the diapers. Simon says. I would always intentionally lose that game. And musical chairs was a humiliating little fucking game. Okay, the COVID music's on. Okay, COVID lockdown. Where are you? I'm in New Zealand. I'm in Australia. Ah, that's where you are. Okay, you gotta stay there. Hold on to that chair. Okay, because you want to hold on to a chair because when the COVID stops, if you don't get on a chair, where are you? Well, you're in an area where you could be kidnapped or killed or disappear, apparently. I think the whole idea here is to make you so scared of leaving that, oh, you don't have a birth certificate, you don't have a passport. Wow, you could just die right now. There's no paper record of you. It's a great way to murder people, too. Hence the reason why when you're certified at birth and all that stuff, you're already dead. So they're committing a fraud, saying you're dead. You're a corporation. Why? You're alive. And you're scared to get rid of that because then it's like, oh, you don't need paperwork. You could fucking just die and disappear. Got all your paperwork. You don't even exist. Turn that thing into some fraud corporation and boats in another country, right? Maybe we'll make it look like you made a bunch of money under your name. We'll make money off your fucking name. And for all you know, while you could try to make money off your name, somebody else is making money off your certificate. But you get to participate with that certificate. You get like some crumbs. The example is if you give up your ID or somebody steals your ID, they can fucking open up a corporation. They can then make so much money, they apply for citizenship. This could be all done online during COVID now. And then they get a passport, and then they're voting. Guy never stepped foot in the United States of America, and he became an American. I mean, you could have voter fraud legally. And how do you count? How do you count during a germ warfare? I mean, especially the post office, people were saying, well, one job that might disappear during the future, the new normal, is a guy licking stamps on your envelope. Can you imagine how it makes it gross, huh? It makes you think back about all those envelopes you opened up. There's like some guy's spit in the corner. Fossil of that guy's fucking mouth germs on the paper. I hope it didn't leak through. Guy with a big tongue just blathering, give me that envelope. Man, you do this. You got a better. You're the one with the big tongue. You know, we could hire a man with you like you here. Yeah, you got skills that we don't have here. I mean, you're licking twice the amount. I saw you do 3 envelopes the other day with your tongue, one shot. You're hired. I mean, you're moving up, boy. Thank you very much, sir. It's real fun to work. It's a real pleasure to work here. Okay. Keep mutating that gene. You're bound to all be licking envelopes. For you know who. I don't even want to say the name anymore. It's so gross. Christians. So, Signal, are you listening? The guy there, the huge tube guy, the minister, he goes, are you listening? Do you hear this? Love it. He's great. And he's right. It's not left, he's right. Kaboom patang. And so, yeah, I'm going to call this guy up, and I'm going to fucking tell him. I just want to hear him like starting to get mad that I did the pool. Yeah, in another country. Where are you? I'm going to find you. It's like he's going to find me now. This is like now everybody in Florida and Nevada and the U.S. and Canada gets to watch me take a third world country, the meek, shall inherit the earth, and turn it into this creative powerhouse of freedom of thought. That's what freedom of expression is. Freedom of expression is like, hey, I got an idea. Shut your fucking mouth. Keep it to yourself. We don't have a First Amendment anymore here. You can free think in your head. We don't want to hear it. Matter of fact, we'll know if you're free thinking out loud and violating the law against freedom of opening your mouth during a pandemic if it's a new idea coming out of somebody else's head. More than one person with a new idea, that means somebody spoke. Somebody expressed a thought. And that is dangerous. That could infect the group. Droplets of that thought can land on someone and infect them. That's what they're saying. It has nothing to do with thinking or expressing. Just want to cover it up. So it's a lot easier. There's a lot more of you dead. It's just like you were faceless. Out of sight, out of mind. You know, see no evil, hear no evil. Out of sight, out of mind. It's like they're slowly removing your empathy of billions of people. They're making you faceless because there's an event coming. The mutation from the sky, from the thing they've been putting up your nose. From the vaccine. The vaccine is the virus. I'll debate anybody who wants to fact check that. Now they just censor me and say, oh yeah, I didn't correspond with the fact check. It just violated our communist guidelines. Our communitist guidelines. Yeah, it violated our communitist guidelines. It's like, you had that thought. No, I didn't say it. I didn't mean to say it. Sorry, you said it. You're done. You called us fag lines. It's like, no, I didn't even say that. You can rewind it. Somebody trying to say I said fag lines. I did not say fag lines. Matter of fact, I'm totally pro-gay. And I accept there's a lot of men out there that are very, very attracted to my brain and the size of my member. Yeah? I'm like the type of guy that makes millions of men gay in China. I know. So, I'm like just a gay trap. I'm like basically, I'm doing entrapment for the right, for what's right. No, you can't mix the two. It's either one or the other. What are you talking about? I'm doing entrapment for the right, for what's right. I'm doing entrapment for what's right. In the end, you have to outsmart me with your mouth and your brain. You can't just go, nope, no more thinking. Okay, mute him. I had somebody do that, the Earther Girls or the Truther Girl. She muted me. Truther Girl muted me. Truther Girl on YouTube muted me. I was like, okay. And she's a nurse, so she would figure later on what she's saying now. It's real. The pandemic's real. It's a bioweapon. Okay. Whatever. Whatever it takes, make you shut up. And we'll know if you came up with something if we see a new idea in the workplace. That means somebody opened up their mouth and said something. Sucking sound. Who's going to be the power vacuum? I'm pretty sure there's some country out there that's hardy enough, good-natured enough. The people are like, what? That's sad that they're dying. They want to help out, but they also don't want to starve their children and believe in a different approach and resilience. And it's funny how even with certain compromises, new ideas, not just as repairs to this failed state of affairs, like new product. It's like, now that's a COVID product. That's to stop the pandemic or to, stop freedom. It's technology that suppresses like freedom. It's not like a freeing technology. Technologies that free the mind and unleash the potential of you being a self-generating idea machine that doesn't pollute and works in symbiosis with nature. What kind of nature? The debate isn't over here because of TV. Because the TV showed you a globe from a man who just had a round of golf on the moon. I'm Math Powerland. You want to support us? We support you, the individual you. You decide whether you want to be part of the group. I have no problem with groups, but when groups stop you, that's where people like me stand up. And I put the stand up in stand-up comedy. This has been known as entertainment. I specifically chose that category. And if you can't make fun of the old robot trying to like walk through the front door of the WH, wow, then we really are in a communitist guideline. Hey, how you doing? I'm like just coated this pool, and it's a new product. So the pool was built by me, and it was with a team, of course. We built the pool using cinder blocks, rebar, cement, and then a special white cement plaster. And then it was tinted like fresco. Okay. Which means that tint, unlike paint, is just pure color. It never dries. It's what you add into a gallon of paint when you see them squirt when you go to the paint store. It's the color that they use for acrylic paints, oil paints. It's usually crushed up minerals or semi-precious stones, rocks, plants. It's like the old days when they would make paints during the Renaissance. Each artist would make their own colors. And they would source out these ingredients to make these very vibrant vermilion colors and cadmium colors. Oh, there's a little dragonfly right there. My symbol, 720 degree eyesight. And if it rains, right, it hits that pigment and this white cement, you'll get like a streak. I left a few because it kind of, you see that when you're like in a cenote or in a cavern or, you know, in some sort of environment that is a cave or a stone or marble, because you'll see like the minerals that are passing through the water table through the stone. You know, sometimes they pool, they collect, they deposit, and they leave little streaks that are vertical along with the horizontal or diagonal strata sort of lines. Like when you go to Sedona, you'll see a gradient from the top of the mesas, the mountains there, where you'll see these lines, right? Like you'll see a light beige at the top, a little darker brown, and then it gets to an iron oxide sort of reddish brown, and then it gets to a dark brown. People say that's a strata forming. It's like, well, I see that also as like rapid descent in a water line that was passing through this bedrock or this valley, and it was staining the stone. And what happens with minerals and debris that's passing through the water table or going down a river? You see it on the sides of, like, you know, riverbanks during a drought. You'll see like water lines. It's because the debris is heavier sediment, so it's going to rest at the bottom and move around with the current, and it's going to wash up and stain the stone and make these bands. Geodes and agates and stuff like that, those are different sort of, but the same kind of principle is in that. So I work with the rain and the sun cooking the white cement like a ceramic tile. And I had to put a tarp over this because every day there was rain. And I told him the minute I get in this pool, I told the guy, it's going to be warfare, weather warfare. They've always done this. I mean, I look at my cells, and they were coming from Commonwealth countries and countries that are part of the Open Skies Treaty. That's what I noticed. I'm in a country that's not part of the Open Skies Treaty signed by George Bush, and therefore the blue is really blue. Like, you won't see this kind of hazy, white, milky garbage that you see over Canada, Britain, and the U.S. Like, this is blue. This is blue from, like, this is the 1980s azul blue. Okay? So what was coming in from directions out in the Caribbean that are under British control or American control or American alliance, right? Because they get money from, you know, the U.S. government or the British or the IMF pulling strings or voting for them. So we were in a battle constantly here, our team, putting tarps over so that we wouldn't get massive streaking and have enough time for this stuff to evaporate and just be like a dust that crystallizes around the white cement that was still curing to a degree. So there's a lot of chemistry that's old school low tech that could have been done during ancient Rome or Greece that we employed here. There's no Google, there's no Facebook, there's none of these pimps that broker the transmission of one creator to a purchaser or a buyer. There were none of these kind of brokerage firms that are basically parasites off you and me doing business with real low-tech or high-tech technology. All these big companies are now deciding who's doing business, who's going to feed their children, and who's going to live a successful life and have a successful company or career. I'm going to be moving off the internet slowly. This site is going to be called Unique Skill because I have to protect my arms and my body. This is the tool that I use, and it's all chemistry from my mom and dad and my family tree and God. It doesn't come from anything else. And God was literally involved here in the clouds and the water and the rain and the soil and in the sand and all the raw materials that we use to make this pool. What's sad is that I created this, and I've had this in my head for 20 years, but I've been in a country that is run by socialism, overregulation, and the fraternity of buddies and big boys that they don't want this technology in the pool industry in Florida. They don't want this technology in the pool industry in California and Vegas. I even had one guy said that I go around specifically to see who's doing an unlicensed pool, and I can put you in jail. Well, I'm talking to that guy in Vegas right now. I'm not in your fucking country. And I made a slab of cement that's, you see this? You see my hand? I have 4 hands here. It's over 12 inches thick. And the reason why we did that was so that it wouldn't break in an earthquake easily. And then it's gravel. And then it's tires. And the reason why we did all that is because these are materials that were readily available, that were like, being thrown around, or we go pick them up in sites or dig them up. And the reason why we did that was so that it wouldn't break. And also, I wouldn't have a lot of water table because we're on the top of a hill going down to a laguna here. So the water table of like the cenotes are like traveling through here at a rapid rate. So we made this thick so that I wouldn't have a lot of condensation and vapor getting through to affect the drying of this tint while they were continuously modifying these cloud cells to make rain over the pool. I guess to prevent like a new invention with low-tech knowledge. It's amazing what you could do today with all the information that we've accumulated over history and go back to raw materials and concepts and building methods from ancient Rome and tweak them. It's amazing. And people don't think like that, right? They don't. They are like, how am I going to get an app out online? How am I going to become a plumber or an architect or a lawyer or a cop or a doctor, right? Like the TV tells you, because that's all they play. Like it's a lawyer drama, cop drama, and a doctor drama. It's like, so first it's a cop that finds out who did the crime, then it's a doctor sewing the guy up from the crime, and then it's in the courtroom. And then they trained you that those were the only real vocations and the only jobs that are worth for a human to do, right? Well, I did this, right? And this structure seems to be taking over every aspect of our lives. The octopus is very seductive at a distance, but don't be fooled. The minute it touches you, it's going to put a suction dot on you and excrete a poison or a sedative to like make you unconscious underwater, keep underwater a bit longer. And the minute you're underwater for a certain amount of time, you drown. Then it eats you. And it's controlling every tentacle is going for religion, education, health, politics. The octopus is Octopus 19. That's all I can say here on YouTube. So this was done while the rest of the world was trying to figure out how they were going to feed themselves and pay rent with a vocation that was provided to them from the establishment, from the system, the education system. I got a degree in this. I went to school for that. I opened up my restaurant here in this town, and it all turned on them, right? As long as you're creating something new and wonderful and beautiful, that's low tech, that you can always build even if the power goes down, you will have resilience and independence. And this is just a testament to let you know that there's still things to be done with just the tools and methods of ancient Greece and Rome, where you could pile up all the information between tribes and histories and different countries and put them together with the right people who still work with their hands and create something beautiful that's going to last hundreds of years. And the reason why it's going to last a long time is because this is a really strong white sand cement. It's over a foot that way. I got rebar in the cinder blocks that are the wall, and then I've got gravel, and then I got the tires. Okay? The tires are in case the earth moves. I don't want this to crack, so it absorbs the shock. And same thing with the bed here, it's tires. So if I were to do this or start doing this in the Hamptons or in New York City or in Nevada or in California without a license or going to their school, and unfortunately I got to use their inferior technology, their inferior building methods, I would be arrested and put into jail. Does that sound like a free enterprise society? You were never in a free enterprise society. When you have regulations in Canada and the US preventing people, and Europe, preventing people who are extremely smart and very informed and have been studying surface technologies, resistance of coatings with weather and chemistries for over 30, 40 years, and you block them because their methods are different than industry standard that provides a license for that person to build a shitty pool, a shitty house in Canada and Montreal with chipboard in the rain that's going to produce toxic molding mushrooms in 20 years because they used to glued pieces of chipboard as walls and then chalk drywall, and the rain was coming down with God knows what in those droplets. And now they got mushrooms 20 years later and everybody dies of cancer in the crotch. People out here have like next to nothing. Food falls off the trees here. I'm in a town of maybe 5,000 people. I have about 30 different little groceries or little corner groceries for fruits and vegetables I can go to. A town of 5,000. I was in like Florida, Christmas, Titusville area. When we needed food, we had to drive in a car 20 minutes, and I had 3 choices. Trader Joe's, Aldi, or Publix. Walmart, of course. And if the food supply chain breaks down because the trucks go on strike or whatever, or there's no food being grown because of floods or COVID or whatever, those 4 choices that everyone in that area, millions of people, depend on, are gone. But in a small town in the third world, I got 30 choices for bananas, apples, broccoli. I have 3 butchers in this small town that I can go to. And one of them, he tells me what day of the week they slaughtered the cow that he's cutting for me. Oh, it was slaughtered yesterday. This is yesterday's slaughter. Yeah, I eat meat. And I'll tell you why I eat meat. Because they want you to not eat meat. Why do they not want you to eat meat? Especially if you're O negative blood type, RH negative 0. Because it will weaken you. It will weaken you. And they want you to be a kind of permanent pharmaceutical client. Now, there's things that I'm saying right now that I got to watch out, because I'm only back on YouTube after 2 weeks of being banned for putting up CPAC raw footage that was edited of Joe Biden inappropriately getting comfortable with young minors, young female minors. So I get it. Maybe the compilation wasn't very in good taste, but are we at a point right now where you can't mock the leader? That would be a dictator. See, it's not that I was anti-Trump for the last 4 years. It's just that it's my job as a comedic critic, an eccentric painter who observes things in reality, to just make fun of the leader so I can be a litmus test.
One, two, three.
Look at all these dragonflies. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. Look at all these dragonflies. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. All the insects that bother me. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. Eating all the insects that bother me. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. Eating all the insects that bother me. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. All these millions of dragonflies. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. Eating all the insects that bother me. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. All these millions of dragonflies. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. Eating all the insects that bother me. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. All these millions of dragonflies. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. Eating all the insects that bother me. Look at all these dragonflies flying around. dragonfly.